If this man would coach a Germany or a France or a England, he would definitely win the European Championship because last night he made France look bang average. And he doesn't even have notable players. It's only Sabitzer that's a player in Ralf Rangnick's team. Welcome to the first game of the European Championship analysis. I will try to only do games that has relation to Barcelona in terms of tactically. And you're going to see how we do it in this game right here. But as always, do subscribe to the channel. Man, it should have been the whole France team that should have been left with a bloody nose, pun intended, because Austria had more possession, they had a higher shot accuracy, and they even had more passes than France, which to me is absolutely insanity. Now, looking at this lineup, I can already see a problem for Ancelotti because Deschamps left Giroud on the bench for Thuram based on the fact that Mbappe is terrible at defending, right? Because Ralf Rangnick used the same tactics that Xavi did to render Mbappe useless. Are we going to see this at Real Madrid where Rodrigo and Vinicius is going to have to defend on the wings while Mbappe don't? In the build-up phase, Sabitzer was actually deployed as a false left winger, right? Because he would obviously invert, as we all know, to create this play right over here. But unlike at Barca where you see the fullback going way forward, he was just staying in enough space to prevent Dembele from going into the press, however still being able to receive the ball in this area right here. Now here's where you see a spitting image of what Xavi did at Barcelona. This fullback didn't come part of a back three like we normally see Koundé do. He would stay in his position and would actually be this defensive midfielder to come in and receive the ball. This would leave either Griezmann or Rabiot to come and press, but then it would leave either this player over here or it would leave space for the other defensive midfielder to come in. And now Mbappe was a problem because Deschamps didn't know if he wanted to have pressure up here or does he want to protect Hernandez, because he at times had Thuram to come forward and then Mbappe would go and press up on the wings. He did this because Thuram was finding more space and more pace to actually get around and put some pressure up front. But this didn't work at all. When I look at this, it's really astonishing to me because if Ralf Rangnick can do this with Austria, man, it's going to be interesting to see what Ancelotti does with Mbappe, right? So it's probably not going to be a smooth sailing as a lot of Madrid fans think, because to fit Rodrigo, Vinicius and Mbappe in, you're going to have to sacrifice the diamond midfield. Are you going to keep the diamond midfield and leave Rodrigo out? So it's going to be really interesting. And remember, they do not have Toni Kroos anymore that's going to settle the team and control the game for them like he has been all these years. Now, Mbappe was actually a huge problem to France in this instance because Deschamps didn't want Austria to have such easy access and build-up play. And he couldn't really use Dembele because then this fullback would be able to receive the ball. He wanted to cover his wings at all times. That is why he actually had Griezmann to come out and press next to Thuram so that they can cover their centre backs. However, Ralf Rangnick was easily outnumbering them just by having his defensive midfielder come forward, and then they could have a 3 against 2 in this instance. Ralf Rangnick didn't have Sabitzer or whoever come back. He played with a single pivot because he could find the passing lanes through here, and he could move around and still receive the ball, right? What Ralf Rangnick did was interesting for me. Sabitzer and this player right here and Lima was actually like a 3-1-3-3 that we saw Xavi use. He made Rabiot and Kante pretty much static in this instance because they had to keep their positions right in front of these 3 midfielders right here. And this is how you saw a 4 against 2 in the midfield against France. Now, like I said, if Ralf Rangnick can do this, it's really insane how you can use one player and nullify a whole team, because if he would press even the defensive midfielder, then they could still receive the ball in that instance here. So this is a masterful tactical plan that you see here from Ralf Rangnick. What blew my mind about Ralf Rangnick in this instance was how he was manipulating the game, right? For an example, if Austria would go to the left side, then Sabitzer would not invert. Instead, the number 10 would come over here, and then Lima would go into the half space, therefore keeping the double pivot. This forced France to come really narrow. And guess what? The switch now to the fullback there, he was in acres of space now to receive the ball, right? However, he didn't occupy the wing space over there. He was in a space just enough or good enough or high enough that he could still link up and draw out a player and therefore get Lima to come into these areas. But like I said, unfortunately, Austria didn't have enough quality to actually punish this French team. And then also similar to the right wing, if Austria would go over to the right wing, Lima would not invert. And therefore, you would see that this number 10 would go into the half space right there. And therefore, Sabitzer would come in and draw France over to the right-hand side, right? And then guess what that would do? That would simply, like I said, draw everybody. And then the same space would be they would have the same space in that instance right there. So Ralf Rangnick, man, heads off to him. He's a super tactician in my opinion. In build-up, Deschamps actually had Rabiot to go a little bit higher to create a two-man in the half space with Antoine Griezmann, which was mind-boggling because why do you want to give up your numerical advantage over here, right? And then Ralf Rangnick actually tasked his number 10 to follow Kante wherever he would go. And therefore, Ralf Rangnick had his center forward to stay in between the center backs so that they cannot play the ball to each other, which actually hindered their, their build-up play, right? And they actually went out to press as well. If they went deeper, they went out to press in order to actually nullify the whole thing. And Sabitzer came on to Upamecano, and therefore France was really in danger in the build-up phase against this Austrian team. You will be seeing a lot more European Championship content on this channel throughout the summer because I'm trying to give us some perspective on what other managers are doing, what other teams are doing, and also what our players are doing or their jobs or their tactics that our players have in other teams, right? Especially teams like Spain and those kind of teams, right? As always, do subscribe to the channel. It's going to help us a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed this video of where this master has absolutely made France look average. See you in the next one. Thank you very much.